Jackson and East Ridge Road Retail involves 974 Jackson Road, 1661, 1171, and 1175 Ridge Road. Applicant Union Crossing LLC is requesting a sketch plan review of the site and subdivision plan for construction of 20,000 square foot retail plaza and parking facility on a total of 2.87 acres. Located in a MC district, medium commercial district under Dakota Town website.
Good evening, board members. I'm David Cox with Pascal Associates, the civil engineer for the project. Also with me is Jim Taylor and Carl Schuler from Taylor the Builders. We're here before you for a concept review for the site plan and subdivision review. We also need to go to the ZBA. We'll be going next week for 2 buffer variances, a front buffer and a rear buffer variance. So the ZBA always likes to have it referred to the planning board to get their feedback prior to making their determination. Because there's a 50-foot front buffer, and then there's a 100-foot rear buffer because it's against the residential zone. So the existing property is right at the corner of Jackson Road and Ridge Road. Just to the west here is Canandaigua National Bank and the new Royal Car Wash. Just to the north is another plaza, the Rochester Linoleum Plaza, I guess you could say. And then a little bit further to the east is AutoZone down here. So we have commercial uses all around there. And there's currently 4 separate properties. The larger property on the east side is a commercial use now. Kitchen and Bath Expressions is located in there. So we would be proposing to combine all those into one lot, total of 2.87 acres. So we had meetings with town staff to kind of go over the project and look at some different things. And kind of the 2 highlights, or the 2 things that they really wanted to see, was they wanted the sidewalk extended along here. So that there's sidewalk on the west side. They wanted to see that extended with a nice tree lawn there. And then there's sidewalk in the village down near Barrett Road. So there's just a little bit of a stretch that could be put in the future and have some sidewalk connected all the way down into the village. So that was one thing. And then the other thing was increasing the buffer to the south. Right now these residential properties, there's not a whole lot of a buffer, not much vegetation, it's grass almost up to the property line. So we would really be putting some additional landscaping and buffer elements to block this commercial from these residential properties. And we also looked at some different options of how we could place the building. One of the options we did look at was placing the building up as far to Ridge Road as possible. And then there would be no parking or anything in the front. Part of the problem with that is it put all the parking in the rear, so that most of the traffic and everything is closer to these properties, residential properties to the south here. And it eliminated the drive around the front of the building so that people would have to exit onto Ridge Road. It kind of made it just one way. So by having it loop all the way around the building allows people to go back down to Jackson and then come up and exit at the light if they want to take a left, or just hop on to Jackson if they were heading south, so they would not have to go onto Ridge Road. So we really like that circular traffic and trying to keep as many people off of Ridge Road as possible and give people the ability to use the light. There's an existing sanitary sewer that runs just south of the building, so this building is outside of that, so we wouldn't have to change that or revise that sanitary sewer at all. We also looked at other commercial properties. We've got AutoZone over here, and then the Royal Car Wash, Canandaigua National Bank, McDonald's, to kind of put that in a similar line away from the road, so that they're all in that same line, so that kind of fit nicely there. And then the other thing was you know, balancing the buffer. You know, we want to have the tree lawn and sidewalks here, so we obviously need to stay a little bit away from Ridge Road, but we also want to maximize the buffer to the south. So that kind of centered that building right in the center of the site there. It's a great property for commercial use, being right on the corner here. The existing house is, you know, it's just not a great place for residential on that corner there, where this commercial really makes it a lot of, it's a nice property for the commercial use here.
The buffer, the rear buffer to the,
Yes.
in the south is what, 100 foot from the
100 foot.
residential, right?
Correct.
What do you got on this?
So it pinches right down here to 16 feet, and then at this end it's 48 feet. So it's because the property line's not too straight.
So 20,000 square feet from a retail building on a small piece of property, is there a reason it has to be 20,000 square feet?
Based on,
I'm looking, you know, to reduce it down, so it gets somewhere comparable to match, you know, ratio to the size of the property. It's a pretty
yeah, when
big
we
building.
look at the allowed size building's footprint for the size of the building, we're under that. 20% is allowed, we're at 16. And also when you look at parking, we can meet all the parking required for this size commercial property. There's no other variances that are required to have a building on this property, of this shape and
Yeah,
size.
I understand that, but that's probably the main variance you would have to get. 16 feet versus 100.
Right. One of the things we could do is, because right now we do have some excess parking, that we could eliminate some additional spaces down where it's pinched to 16,
Yeah.
so that we can create a greater separation and have a greater buffer.
How many parking spaces do you have altogether in there?
We have 134, so we
What
could
would-
actually
what would-
lose around 20 and still meet code.
Give me that again, you have
34.
134? 134 parking spaces. And required for 20,000 feet?
It's 114.
114? So the line right along the property there, you've got 21 spaces, so if those were eliminated. There, you could have a greater buffer where the pond is. I'm looking at drawing 2.
One.
Yeah, I'm just looking at 2. Trying to, one's about the same, isn't it? Those are, yeah, pretty much the same thing, see, with that length. Oh, well, okay, I'm sorry, the one I'm looking at has got 20, this is the one I was looking at here. Taking a piece came off here.
That was the one with the building all the way up to the front, which didn't work so well. So building, the sheet number 1 is the best. But we could eliminate up to 20 spaces along that southern property to increase that buffer.
This property has been for sale for many, many, many years. Many years.
Yeah.
We've seen proposals come in, the last one that came in was for a fast track gas station, which we flatly didn't want any part of. As far as I'm concerned, and being familiar with this property, this particular project is exactly what I was envisioning here. And I like plan number 1, because it doesn't pull all the parking in the back. It's about 40% of the parking is in the back, which goes along behind the residential areas. I like it. I like it a lot, and I think what's there now is awful. Houses are old houses, and they're not in great shape, and I'd be more than happy to see them all taken down. So I'm totally for this project.
Yeah, it's a nice, there's no question, it's a nice looking project. The only thing is, it's, the size of it. It's like the carpet place across the street, you say, well, gotta put that much building there because the property costs too much. No, the value of the property is what you can do with it.
The size of the building is not more than what is allowed there. not looking for a variance for the size of the building at all.
Well, the building isn't the issue, it's more, you know what, it's, I mean, I can go either way with it, it's just how it goes, and that's all. You know, I know we've got a bunch of people must all be neighbors, you know, this isn't a public hearing tonight, it's not open to the public, but if I was sitting out there, I'd wanna say something too, so you know what, why don't we open it to a few of you if you wanna talk, give us your opinion, let us, give a little feedback, more than welcome. Want to do that? If anybody wants to make a comment, just, you know, you guys can help us out a little bit. Just give us your name and address.
Okay, Don and Maggie Mooney, 1178 Jackson Lakes. Our property backs up to the project. So we're 52 feet out the back of our house from the lot line.
Yeah,
So we're at 16 to 66 feet from this project. And, I mean, it can be noisy over there, trucks coming in and out, which we've never had a problem. We built our place, Jerry Lazaro built it. When he built the store, we knew what was going in, we were fine with it. 30 years later, still fine with it. But this is kind of unknown, like
I
what's
guess we kinda
retail,
wanna know who our neighbors are gonna be,
when we're that close.
what's gonna be in that building.
yes, we don't have
Right,
an
and
answer.
that's where we have a problem.
Okay, so maybe we can ask, it's retail, so obviously it's gonna be stores, right? I'm guessing right here?
No, I could. If you don't mind, my name is Jim.
Yeah, just give us some thoughts on what you assume would be there anyways.
My name is Jim Taylor, business address at 2580 Bear Road in Penfield. We're working with the developers on the improvement project here. As of now, they don't have specific tenants identified. We're kind of in the catch-22 situation where nobody wants to commit until we're further along in the variance process, so we've just begun that. We do have some preliminary interest from users, from an urgent care to a financial services office, to an exercise studio, to a hair salon. So we have significant interest, various users, you know. A lot of it depends on who signs up first, because we're going to develop the tenant mix that is cohesive. If we went with a financial services firm, it would be Monday through Friday, probably closing at 7 o'clock. You know, some of the salons would have weekend hours, some exercise studios would have some weekend hours, but obviously the board would have some flexibility in setting those hours, putting some restrictions on it.
So basically, they're the standard commercial uses.
It really is.
Jim, how many units in there?
What's that? We're anticipating up to 4 units up there,
Four
4 separate users.
Okay.
And again, we've got the financial services firm wants about 15,000 square feet, the salon's about 5,000, and urgent care would be about 6 to 8. Again, it all depends on, you know, timing, what is approved here. The parking mix is a significant portion of that, because the urgent care wants more parking than the financial services firm. So I apologize, I wish it could be a little bit more definitive, but that's kind of the way it is. So the feedback that we're getting with respect to the additional buffer along your property line, eliminating some parking spaces, that's helpful for us. We can embellish and enhance this screen a little bit. But I think, you know, to look in the backyard of Gary's backyard back to your property is pretty bare right now. Anything we do there is going to be pretty significant improvement, cleaning up the mess. We want to be good neighbors, we want our tenants to be good neighbors as well. So I think the two uses can support each other, can get along responsibly.
Well, if you're familiar with where the daycare center is, and Walgreens, and car wash, and Canandaigua National, you all were around back when that got approved, when we went through here, it was crazy. And the only way we resolved it there, obviously, there was more space in the back,
Yep.
was to put a berm up, create a berm with a fence on top. Obviously, you can't put that much into this. But would you be willing, if this keeps moving in that direction, would you be willing to put an 8-foot fence or something to
Yeah,
protect the neighbors and then some landscaping and so on?
absolutely.
Would that work with you folks then?
Yeah.
I mean, I understand your plight,
We'll have to
no
work it
doubt,
out,
but,
but,
I mean, when the gas station came in, you guys remember when that came, remember, that was just a flat out, don't go away, don't come back, you know? And this is a whole lot different situation than a gas station with cars and traffic and all that. this is, you're only gonna have like 4 units or 5 units in it, that's good, I mean, I'm feeling better with that. Because I was thinking you had like 8 or 10 or something smaller, you know, okay, then something like that, we can mitigate some of the issues with,
Absolutely.
landscaping,
See,
fencing.
our house sits up higher a little bit, so we're gonna kind of be looking at the roof of this place, you know, so whatever goes there is gonna have to be high. Like 15, 20 feet maybe.
Oh, you can't put a fence in, I've never seen
Well,
that.
no, I didn't say fence.
Oh, you mean, trees and
Trees and
stuff?
stuff,
Well, they
yeah.
could put some trees, but they won't all be there all at the same time, be,
Right.
you know,
Right.
20 feet high, the trees that could grow that, or
Well, yeah,
pine
no,
trees,
yeah.
whatever, we can get into that. But just something that we're on the same page with, we can just move in a congealed mode here, you know? All right, that work for you guys? At this point anyways, we'll go into it. Yes, ma'am.
Do you know if there's any?
You might have to, you want to come up, oh, wait a minute, you know what, you folks are there, go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, Gary, go ahead. Didn't even see him.
Good evening, Gary and Marlene Lazaro. We're on the eastern side of this project, and one of the concerns that we have is the nearness of that ingress egress on the east side, nearness to our property. And it shows a tree separator there, but half the trees are over on our side. So the question is, if that can be moved a little bit west in order to accommodate that. I'm sorry. So we're right here, and these trees are off that line. And if this could find its way over a little, that's all we're looking for, is to make sure that that's a little bit.
That looks like it can be done like you have in your
Yeah.
drawing 3, just
Yeah,
by
we can shift that.
angling it over.
Okay?
Figure?
Yep, thank you.
Sure.
I just have 2 quick questions. So my name's Emily Bonsinger. My mom lives right on Jackson, right at the mouth of it, basically, kind of across from Doodlebugs. That's that driveway, and it hooks right into her driveway. Are there any plans to change the light system there and that 4 corners? I mean, going forward, I'm sure a lot of that property on those 4 corners, Ridge, Jackson, and then Rachel drives across the street. Is there anything to
You
change
talking
that
about the signal light?
The signal light, yes.
Anything to change that?
As far as turning signals, because that area is gonna get even more congested with more building and things like that, so I just wonder.
That's a state one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the state has
The
that.
state will be made aware of this project.
Okay, and then they'll determine if it's
Yeah.
necessary.
That's correct. It falls in their jurisdiction.
Got it. And another question, I forgot what it was.
It's a ways off yet, so you'll have time.
Evening, everyone. My name is John Tantillo. I'm an attorney here with Christine Bonsignor, the neighbor direct south at 976 Jackson. I would really just like to join in with the other neighbors and say that I hope the board takes special consideration regarding the proximity to residential properties. I think Chairman Shahid hit the nail right on the head when he focused on that 16-foot variance. That's a very substantial variance for a commercial property next to residential property. So I think getting that down or getting the variance decreased in any way possible is going to be key for this project.
I think we're in agreement with you there. I go back thinking about when the gas station was there, when that came in, that was like one notch below when Walgreens and all that mess was in here at that time, you know? And that wasn't fun dealing with that. Hopefully this goes a little bit better. It's a much smaller operation overall. And I think you can look at it and say, this is okay, but what may come in if not this? You may get something that isn't even as good as this, and you know what I mean? Somebody comes in again with a gas station or some other crazy setup that isn't too attractive, we have a bigger issue then. So if we can get something to work out with this, with you folks, with the neighbors, I think we can make this thing go much smoother.
I do have one question. Alternative 3 sheet, or alternative 2 sheet 3. That one shows on the east side of the building drive-through. None of the other drawings indicate that. I just want to make sure that it's not anticipated that it's going to be a drive-through as part of this.
There is a possibility, we don't know the tenant mix right now, but the only place that a drive-through would work is this corner. Here, there's not really any other place that would work well for that.
Yeah, guys, I saw that part on there before, but, there's nothing drawn, it just shows it's part of the building block when it's fitting in, but I wouldn't be too happy with a drive up necessarily, that's just increasing traffic right, you know, on that property line there.
Yeah,
That can be eliminated, I think you'd be better off,
I agree with you 100%.
you know? Because to get to that, they're gonna have to drive around the back, which is traffic going through that parking area and then around to it. I'd rather you didn't show that on there personally.
Okay.
I'm bored with it. See where it shows it, that garage, or that,
Two-way traffic.
what is your variance gonna be, just for the the buffer in the back?
And the buffer in the front.
Yeah, the setback, yeah.
That's the dilemma that we have. I certainly want the zoning board to act on a plan that the planning board's gonna be happy with.
So,
Do you want the applicant to come back and show you what the buffers are gonna look like adjacent to the residential properties to the south? And this way to better handle what buffer is being proposed
yeah.
before the appearance of the zoning board?
We need to come back to the
The
board.
one drawing you're showing here on two, where you have the pond in the back, that creates a pretty good sized buffer for, Brian
Well,
Ramlet.
that's what I'm saying, we really don't have a good copy plan that the board is happy with.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to
Before
figure
the
out.
applicant makes their appearance at the zoning board of appeals, I certainly want this board to be happy with that.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure what's the best, I think the biggest problem here is protection for these folks. You know, that we get a good buffer in as best we can. We know it's tight, we know it's extremely tight.
Right.
So I'm looking at that 1-2, we have the detention area back there. That's half of that whole property line is going across, you know?
One of the problems with that is the entrance drive, it gets a lot closer to the signal,
Yeah.
which could create stacking issues and things like that. We really
That's
want to
a
be
good
as far
point.
away from the signal as possible.
Yeah.
Looks to me like drawing one really is the one that's gonna be the best one to work with as far as parking is concerned.
You know, you mentioned eliminating some of the parking spaces from the shoe buffer itself.
Right.
Yeah, and the east end.
Yeah, actually, on that, I think if the applicant is currently scheduled for the.
Here, go on, why don't you go through the mic? It doesn't pick you up there otherwise.
Is it the public hearing for the variances next Thursday, or next Tuesday?
Yeah.
Well, then, in that case, since I requested the variances have to be for the smallest variance possible, I think to the extent you said that you could cut 20 parking spaces, potentially
Yeah.
decrease the buffer, I'm not sure the proposal to the ZBA would be ready then, especially if the planning board is concerned with the buffer too.
Yeah, they would take 20 parking spaces off the back side over here, that would increase that whole buffer another
Yeah.
20-some feet anyways.
Can't get rid of 20 parking spaces.
Yeah.
We cannot.
Oh, you can't.
No, didn't you say we have about 14 that we could eliminate?
Well, you have
No,
no
20 feet
That's it?
in zoning code.
Yeah.
You've got 134, you need 114, you said, right? So that's 20 extra.
Yeah,
Okay.
I stand corrected.
Yes.
Yeah, so that, so if you
I
take
misheard
20
you.
out,
I
you'd be good.
apologize.
And it gives you the buffer and then a better buffer in the back. And you know what, in a case like that, if worst came to worst, where it was ever that busy, you should find a spot somewhere to stick a few more in, you know?
Since it's just a sketch plan, hearing the ideas out for the plan, yeah, I'd suggest maybe if you are moving spaces, try to remove them from the side that's closest to the neighbors there. Maybe you can make a more flush line, cut down a little bit towards that line.
So what's the consensus, looking at one?
One.
Almost
Yeah, with the buffer modification, you know, along there. You might want to show, as a preliminary anyways, you can express to the zoning board what our feeling was on this. In other words, we're looking at, you know, an 8 feet, whatever, fence up there, and heavily tree buffered through that area. And number one would be the preferable choice.
Well, that's what their application is for.
Yeah, that's the
We're
word.
going to see what's being proposed prior to the clearance of the zone.
Do we want to, I think,
Well, we
I
got,
think
see,
that's- I think
the
they're
modification to be made is across the back there of
Right.
these.
Yeah. just changing that parking area right there. Make a bigger buffer, that's it.
And don't we,
Take out the 20 would bring you halfway up, there's 32, that brings you up 2/3 of the way up. That's a lot more buffer in there then.
And add the fencing.
Yeah.
and don't we have to appear
I'm
in
sorry?
front of, don't we appear in front of this board again after the?
Yeah, this
variance?
is
Yeah,
just
so-
a sketch plan.
Right, so we come back after the variance, assuming
Right.
the variance
That's
is
what I'm
granted, then
saying.
we come back and we get the additional discussion
the
about
drawings.
screening and fences and all
Right,
that. So we,
Right,
you will have another opportunity. to
yeah,
raise-
absolutely, yeah, we got a couple
good.
more, maybe 4 or 5,
Let's make this up.
make you nervous. All right, I guess we're all set with everybody, you satisfied with that, was you, Peter?
Yeah, you know, what's nice was when Jim said the amount of stalls in there or whatever, because the way the building looks, well, it's gonna be 10, 15 units, but really not.
No.
So it's not that
Yeah,
bad,
no,
really,
it's not
when you
bad.
look at the impact
Yeah.
for four types of businesses. That's good. That's pretty good one.
I think the board's biggest concern is gonna be the neighbors,
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
shielding them.
I
so
respect that.
We're on your page, folks.
Thank you.
All right, we're all set.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.